There's been a conversation in years past about athletes needing to shut up and dribble and keeping politics out of sports. And now all of a sudden we have literally the governor saying that he would rather have the president of the United States choose the next head coach. This is convenient. It's so convenient when we are allowed to inject politics in sports. You know, Samaria, you from the South. And you are the college football and football aficionado. This is your world for real. This story really scuffed my Timbs this morning. So down at LSU, there's been a lot of controversy over who should be or should not be the next head football coach at LSU, right? So Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry made a statement saying that he would rather have Donald Trump select the next head football coach for LSU rather than the AD. Can you help me just understand Southern politics and what be going on in the water down there? Because I'm a little confused, sis. Can you fill me in?
Yeah, this is rare. I don't think that I've ever seen a governor so involved. Like, that's how you know that they ain't got nothing going on in Louisiana for real, because there's things that you should be worried about. You know,
got a lot going on down there.
You should be worried about the Kyron Lacey case. That's what you should be focused on. Why are you talking?
The literacy rates. They should be worried about the literacy rates.
Well, that too. I didn't want to go that low, but yes, right. Like, there's some national rankings that y'all are at the bottom of, that you should be worried about. And it seems as though you're upset because things didn't pan out with Brian Kelly. Fine. But let's not forget that when Brian Kelly was named the head coach at LSU, like, that was a big deal. He was a very sexy hire. People were excited to have Brian Kelly at the helm of the football program. They really were. And it didn't pan out. That's fine. But you sitting there talking about you would let Donald Trump over Scott Woodward. That's his job. That is literally his job to do that. And I think that up until this point, he has done a great job with a lot of the programs. Like, not just football, but y'all have a solid baseball program every year. You have a solid women's basketball program down there under Kim Mulkey. Like, come on, like, LSU is really good. And so just because the Brian Kelly situation didn't pan out, not you sitting up here. And on top of that, earlier this week, you said that the university should have a statue of Charlie Kirk on campus. And Flau'jae Johnson responded to that. Like, I don't know what's going. Listen,
this is why I can't understand how y'all end up at these schools and at these universities when the culture is this. Like, these are the people that you are entrusting yourselves with to help you achieve your highest, loftiest goals. And not even just athletically, but academically as well. Like, this mentality, these ideologies, these thoughts, you know, yes, this is the governor, but it spills over into the university, right? Like, this is just the kind of culture that is bred in the South and in a lot of Southern spaces, to me, unfortunately, because it's just not how I align myself. You did make up you made a phenomenal point in just acknowledging all the other wins that LSU has had over the last few years. But we all know that regardless of how good the women's basketball team is, you know, if you do not produce on the football field because it is such a revenue driver, then ultimately none of those other wins matter. So Brian Kelly's departure, is the ultimate sting for any athletic director because of how important football is in the South.
Yeah, and I mean, I just feel like the AD, okay, he had one hiccup, right? And I think that they were able to do what I wish my Auburn Tigers would do and go on and, you know, cut ties so that you can go and find somebody before the pool of coaches is picked over. You know what I mean? So I think that he's still doing a good job in realizing, okay, we have given Brian Kelly too many opportunities. He has had like the best rosters, the best recruiting classes, and he's still not able to get these big wins. And so we're going to move on. Like, if he was doing what he's doing at LSU at Auburn, he would still have a job, because that's what we're seeing with Hugh Freeze. He still has a job. So there's obviously this level, this expectation that LSU has. So I think that you have to kind of give them, you can't knock him for that. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Also, and he's a man. The governor is a man. And I think that a white man can get up and say whatever. Because I live in Michigan. If Big Gretch got up here and was talking about the AD at Michigan, they would riot in the streets.
You know what? You're right. Because if a woman came out and said try to insert herself into a sport conversation, then she would definitely be dismissed. You're 1,000% right in that. You're 1,000%.
Look at the Indianapolis Colts and their owner, in Carly Ursay Gordon, who is on the sidelines every week with her headset and the call sheet. And people are like, what is she doing down there? She's like, no, I want to listen in. I want to see what y'all talking about. I pay y'all.
But are there other owners who do that though? In fairness, are there other owners that do that?
No.
So I don't. That's a little bit of an outlier. I do think that's a bit intrusive. Like, yo, it ain't even your money.
So now people are like, okay.
Yeah, but that's random. It's not because she on the sideline. What if y'all want to make believe that she's a good luck charm? Cool.
I don't think so. I don't think that she is. What I'm saying is that she just has her like she's not saying anything. She just wants to hear what they're saying. She wants to be able to. Maybe she's micromanaging a little bit, but the point I'm trying to say is the outrage from people when she first started doing that.
There is nothing more indicative of how nosy women can be than her being on the sideline with a headset on. I'm sorry. I had to say it. The joke was right there, okay? The joke was right there. I had to make it. Damn, y'all nosy. Anyway, we talked earlier in the week about politics, right? And the points of intersection between politics and sports. And we asked, why there seems to be a transition from collegiate head coaches transitioning into politics, right? And this is how, when I say there's a real pipeline, this is how we know, right? Because there's been a conversation in years past about athletes needing to shut up and dribble and keeping politics out of sports. And now all of a sudden we have literally the governor saying that he would rather have the president of the United States choose the next head coach. This is convenient. It's so convenient when we are allowed to inject politics in sports. And it is so interesting to see those who oppose when people use their voice for a certain group of people and how they lambast and talk down on those people and make it sound like they are the worst people on the face of the earth. But the moment one of these Southern white individuals has a desire to say something like that injects politics into sports, then it's all good. Everything they said prior to doesn't matter anymore. I actually applaud the level of loyalty they have to their team. Like Team Red be riding for each other. It's powerful to see.
No, I agree. And you brought up earlier the culture down there and how maybe you don't align with it. And that was what I was trying to say about the Bruce Pearl situation, is that there's a lot of people moving, that are doing stuff, puppeteers, if you will, right? That are pulling strings behind the scenes that we don't see, but they probably share this same ideology. Anyways, I did find a list of the odds for the next head coach, and it seems as though John Sumrall, who is the head coach at Tulane, is at the top of the list. I don't think that that's a bad get because he's already in the state. He's already recruited in the state. He has had some success at Tulane.
Recruiting 2 and 3 stars is very different than recruiting 5s.
But because you're at LSU, the pool is there.
The coaching carousel is so interesting because there's so many retreads that just get passed around. It really is interesting to see like who lands where, because most of the people who I think are having a high level of success right now are newer faces and newer voices in the sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't understand why you would go back into the same well and pick somebody else's garbage. Like that doesn't make sense to me, but I know it's a thing.
It is a thing, especially when you look a certain way.
You know what? I saw somebody who said they'd like to put their name in the pot though.
Who?
The Honey Badger. Tyrann Mathieu said that he's down to coach LSU. He said that he should be given consideration. And I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like in terms of recruitment, he would do a phenomenal job. You could bring in supporting staff around him. He will galvanize the team, and he will endear himself to the modern athlete in a way unlike which any coach that's currently out there could. I'm telling people, like people in general, not even just kids, people love Tyrann Mathieu, like love him. I
understand that. However, that is not enough to win football games.
Why?
Because it's just not. It's just not.
But what else? Well, okay, but what made Brian Kelly the right guy? Like what makes people the right guy?
I think that Brian Kelly had success at Notre Dame, which is a premier football program.
His fat ass wasn't tackling nobody.
I understand it. Listen, I'm biased. I'm all for former athletes coming back and coaching because I think they have a different perspective than people who had not coached. However, I do understand in the same vein, there's a lot that goes into coaching. It's not just being a face, right? Like you gotta have a level of intelligence that some people don't have. And I'm not saying that Tyrann don't have that. Like I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying just the name alone is not enough. Like he really would have to build, like he would have to get very tenured veteran coordinators. He would have to get like, you know what I mean? Like you can't just be hiring your homeboys. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
see, I don't like that. I don't like that. I gotta.
No, it's the truth.
He wouldn't just
hire. It's the truth.
Everything about his life from the time he left LSU to the man that he is now showed growth and evolution. Like I think that his individual development has been on full display for most of us to bear witness to, especially considering his starting point. So I don't think that that Tyrann would actually be somebody who goes in there and just starts trying to do nonsense. I truly believe that he has an uncanny ability to understand football at a high level. His football IQ is top tier to me, and that's just by virtue of having watched him play and seeing his impact on the field, even at that size, right? But
I agree.
Every head coach is going to have good coordinators. Every head coach is going to have a good staff around him. But when you put a guy at the top of that pyramid who has intellect, which I think he does, who has an energy and a spirit, who's been a leader of men, I don't think that there's anything less. I don't think anything about him is less worthwhile than a Brian Kelly or a Lane Kiffin. None of these white men have had success at the top level.
I understand that.
I don't see it. So why not?
No, I'm kidding. But I'm saying I think that to just go from sitting at home to the head coach at LSU, that is a very tall task. I'm not trying to be negative. I think I'm giving a real, like, I think that like people don't really understand what goes into coaching. And I'm telling you, like, as somebody who sees it, like, it's a lot. And I think that some people think that they can just go in and do it. And it's not that easy. And what I'm saying is that I don't want him to fail because I think if he goes into a situation like that where he has the governor who is all into whatever the inner workings of the program and all of the things, his leash is going to already be so short that I don't want him to go into a situation and maybe not as prepared. Like let him come in and be the safeties coach and see how well he does with the safeties and then be a coordinator. Like that is just the level of progression that.
No, because even that puts you in a box. That because then it's like, oh, he only works with the DBs. He doesn't know what a quarterback can do. That's what happens. I'm telling you. Like there are certain people who can scale and do all the things, but I'm just saying like the ultimate test of equality is allowing people of color to fail and then seeing how they're handled in the aftermath of that. That's the ultimate test of equality. Like how mediocre can I be and still get ahead? Let me suck and still be able to advance because there's a lot of white people out there who do. So that is the definition of equality from my perspective.
Yeah, they do, but they don't do that at LSU because if you lose games that
they do. He mid.
Okay, but I'm just saying, and now he's fired. Now he's fired.
Yeah, but you know what he's fired with? With $54 million owed to him. Let my boy Tyrann Mathieu get an opportunity to have that kind of money sitting at home doing nothing.
Anyways, we want to hear from you all because Rodney and I will go on all day. Drop them in the comments and let us know your thoughts on Jeff Landry saying, one, that there should be a Charlie Kirk statue on campus, and two, that he would rather Donald Trump name the next head coach for Louisiana State University's football program. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please amuse us.
Yes. And then once you give us your thoughts, make sure you head over to our newsletter. The link can be found in our bio. Just keeping y'all up to date on all things going on in the world of sports. Samaria, I love you. I love when we debate. Hopefully you receive my words with softness and care and kindness.
I like